Hello everyone, my name is Doc, and welcome to Temporary Worlds, a project about playing and thinking through games. Today I want to introduce a core component of this project, which is a series of videos that I'm calling Let's Reads. Some of you may be familiar with a Let's Play, a video of someone playing through a video game, often with commentary. And a Let's Read isn't all that different. It's a video which summarizes and explains an article, chapter, or essay on games and play. Now, I've given myself a few rules to help guide my production of these videos, and then I also want to talk very briefly about a few caveats about how I think about these Let's Reads and what they're really meant to do. So let's start with the rules. Rule number 1 is that videos must be 10 minutes or less. Now, there's some good learning reasons for this. Most folks don't tend to watch videos that are longer than 10 minutes, but I also want to keep things focused, and I want to make sure that I'm honing in on just a few core concepts from each thing that I read. Rule number 2 is that each text must be readable within one sitting. That means I'll be focusing on articles, essays, and book chapters, something that's digestible and something that's sort of readable within an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And rule 3 is that in general, I want to prefer depth over breadth. A lot of the texts that I'm going to be reading for this series are going to be really rich. They're going to have a lot of ideas and arguments that will be really interesting to dive into. But within the 10-minute format, I don't think I could do justice to every single concept in every single article that I read. And so, where possible, I'm going to prefer to focus on just a few concepts, explain them in depth, and give you a really deep sense of what they might mean. I think that ultimately that'll be more valuable in the long run. So let's get into a few caveats that I want to give for this series. Caveat number 1 is that a Let's Read is a reading, not the reading. The fact that the texts we're going to read are really rich and deep is one of their most attractive qualities in my mind. It's what makes them worth reading. But it also means that we're never really going to arrive at the final, complete understanding of a text. Even if I were to do a reading of a text, record the video, and then return to that text a year later, I might focus on completely different things. And so if you were to read the text yourself, you would also certainly find things that I wouldn't. That richness of different readings is what makes some texts really fascinating and fun to read. Caveat number 2 is that a Let's Read is really a preview. It's meant to encourage you to read the text yourself. I hope that the analysis that I can provide and the summaries that I can provide will help guide you through the text, help you know what's in a text so that you know what you're getting into when you sit down to read it. But ultimately, I want to entice you and intrigue you and get you curious about a text so that you can go and find how you feel about it and what you think about it. And finally, caveat number 3 is that a Let's Read is really input, and that to learn, you have to process and sort of share your thoughts. To clarify by what I mean by input, in a lot of theories of learning, there are sort of 3 broad stages, right? There's input, seeing a thing done well, having someone demonstrate how something is supposed to be done. If you think of the metaphor of language learning, this is hearing someone else speak another language or reading the foreign language in text. But learning doesn't really happen until you have time to process the thing, practice it, work through it, try to acquire the skill yourself, and then demonstrate it, show it off, share with someone else, communicate with somebody else. Within that theory of learning, I think a Let's Read can be a really valuable piece of input. And I hope that after watching, you'll find ways to sort of process and share your own thoughts about the text. If you want to see when new Let's Reads are coming out, make sure to follow Temporary Worlds on Twitter @temp_worlds, and to look for us on YouTube. Links will be in the description. Catch you soon.